Hey everybody, it's Pat at Dancing Moon Travel. I hope you liked our new opening video that Kevin created. I am a fan already. And I'm here with Kevin, Greg, our marketing director from over there all the way in Dublin, Ireland. And today we're talking about Ireland, and so glad that Kevin's for once going to be doing all the talking.
Not all, not all.
Most of the talking. He's going to be doing most of the presentation because he was there, folks. Uh, we're focusing primarily on a trip that he made with five friends and who visited Ireland. We had a small group tour back in September of 2019, and Kevin's going to just go over that and talk about that experience and how that was and how it could be for you. So, Kevin, I guess without any further ado, let's not waste any more time. Let's dive into this.
Yeah, Pat, we talked about doing this because 2019, it was such a great it was our first one, first small group tour of Ireland, and it included a custom made itinerary. We had our own private driver and guide. It included all the hotels, most of our meals, many of the attractions that we went to. It was all one big package price, and it was just it worked out great. So we were going to have another one in September of 2020. Well,
Didn't
we all know
happen.
what happened to that. So, we got to talking about it and said, well, let's show people what it's all about, because 2021 is looking good for perhaps another group coming to Ireland, and I would love to be their host.
Right. We have that on the agenda, folks. So it's going to be very similar to what Kevin's going to be talking about. But we'll talk more about that a little later in the broadcast. But keep in mind as you're listening to this that this is something that's coming up on the calendar for next September. A very similar tour to what Kevin's going to be talking about, and more information on that to come.
Yeah, so we'll just get started. I'm going to start off uh, with showing everyone just a real uh, short map here. And I could go on and on. We have limited time here. I'm going to show a lot of photographs because they tell the story. But there's so many background stories that I wish I could go into, but we just can't. We just don't have the time. Come to Ireland in 2021, and I'll tell you all the background stories.
Build your own story.
There you go. Anyway, here's a kind of a quick map of what our itinerary was. We started off on the East Coast and then made a loop. We went all the way over to the west side, made a loop, and came back over the course of the time that we were all together. Well, gosh, I can't remember, Pat. 7 days,
I
eight
think
days,
it's 9 days actually, I
9 days.
yeah.
Okay, I can't remember. But I met everyone at the airport, and we had a shuttle that took us all to our first night's hotel. And when we got there, everyone wanted to have some lunch. And I will tell a little bit of a backstory here. One of the guests that was with me, we walked from the hotel to a small pub to order our lunches. And she was so taken back because it was like they're playing Van Halen. I thought that, she was expecting like nonstop Irish music or something. So anyway, we had a nice lunch, and then we arranged for us to go on a double decker tour bus. And they're called if you're not familiar with it, it's called a hop on and hop off bus for a reason. You can hop on the bus at one of 29 different stops that it makes as it loops the city of Dublin. You can hop off at a particular site, and then when you're finished, when the bus comes back around, you hop back on it and go to the next loop. If you would stay on the bus and not ever get off, it takes about an hour and 45 minutes to take the loop around Dublin. And that's basically what we did on day one because everyone was exhausted from their flights, but it gave people an overview of what the city of Ireland, what the city of Dublin looked like. So we'll probably do the hop on, hop off for sure again.
Yeah, we have a 2-day hop on, hop off pass built into the 2021 itinerary, so that is included in the package. Great way. I mean, it's sightseeing and transportation all in one package there.
And I did leave out though that we did Dublin really is a small. You can walk around it pretty easily, um, but one place we really recommend, and we went to the first day, is Grafton Street. And I don't know if you've heard of Grafton Street before, but it's home to lots of stores. It's it's
It's kind of Dublin's Times Square, huh?
Yeah, it is. It's got stores, cafes, it's got musicians, there's street entertainers, restaurants, pubs. It's closed to traffic. It's just kind of an iconic place to go and hang out. It's really a cool place to be. So we did that, and then everyone was pretty much ready to hit the sack early that night. But we got up the next day and we stayed in Dublin and we went to uh, Trinity College. It was just a walk down the street from our hotel. And Trinity College holds the Book of Kells. And that's a book that it contains 4 Gospels of the New Testament written in Latin and decorated with colorful, ornate drawings. It was believed to have been created in 800 AD.
Wow.
And you get to see actual pages from it, but there's a museum with displays of different things that's interesting. But for me and many of the people that go, the highlight is the room that 2 of our guests you can see there. There's Martin and Linda, is called the Long Room or the old library. It's over 200 feet in length, and there's over 200,000 of the library's oldest books in the world that are stocked in this library at Trinity College.
That's 2/3 the length of a football field,
It's
as I
it's a
think about it. Wow.
Well, you thought about it more than me. I'd have to get a calculator to figure that out. But uh, and there's the 3 other guests. They're 3 brothers, Dale, Michael, and uh, Steve. Steve, Michael, and Dale. Um, so they're off. That's all the books there.
Wow.
Don't bother bringing your library card. They won't check them out to you. From there, we then went to Christ Church Cathedral, and it was it's a church that has been in Dublin on that site. The original church on that site was built like in the year 1000, 1028. What is that?
Wow.
1028.
1028, yeah.
And some of the foundation of back from the 1200s is still existing on the site. You can see it. Now, this current structure that we toured was actually built in 1868, so it's it's brand new.
Wow. In the
Uh,
U.S., 1868 is ancient history, but not so over in Europe and United Kingdom.
no. From there, and this is still all on our just our second day. Uh, we keep you busy because there's so much to see. Um, we went to the Guinness storehouse or Guinness factory. That's where they have been making Guinness for many, 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 many years. And it is a self-guided tour that comprises, I believe it was 4 stories, 5 stories worth of things showing how Guinness is made, the history of Guinness, the history of Guinness advertising. Uh, if you'll see the harp on the glass there, that's the
Mhm.
symbol of Guinness. Well, the symbol of Ireland is also a harp, but would you believe it? Ireland had to reverse the image because Guinness held the patent or the copyright for the harp facing that way, and Guinness won out over Ireland of which harp to use. So,
Wow.
but it's a cool tour, and at the end, you can go up to the very top where there's a circular restaurant, or it's not a restaurant, it's a pub, and you get a free pint as part of the tour. And it's a circular place that you can get a 360-degree view of Dublin.
Wow. And I see everybody looks very happy there at the Guinness
Yeah.
storehouse.
Yeah. Now Steve has the traditional Guinness, and Michael and Dale went for the more of the lager, which they were kind of being a wimp for not going for the
So,
full stout.
okay. I would probably wimp out too.
So then the next day was one of my favorites, and I'm Pat. What made it a favorite, and which also makes it why it's so cool having our own private driver. We had a itinerary set up where we were going to go to place A, place B, place C. Well, we got to place A with our driver, Michael, and it was raining. And he said, guys, we could do this. We can go to B, C, then come back to A, and maybe we can avoid some of the rain. And that's exactly what we did. And he was exactly right. We had a great day, although it was a little overcast. But if you would be on one of those big coaches with 50 to 60 people on it, I don't think that bus driver is going to be able to change the itinerary for the day. Um,
No. And this is something we do at Dancing Moon Travel. We do some of the big coach tours when it works for people, but whenever possible, we like to get people into the smaller group tours. And this particular tour is going to be very small, probably 8 to 10 people max, plus Kevin, of course. So very, very small, very intimate. You'll come home with new friends if you take this tour. It's a totally uh, a very intimate, customized, and it will, they adjust it on the fly. If something like this comes up, pouring rain, you don't have to get out. They'll readjust things, so uh, makes it much more customizable and enjoyable. Responding to the situation at hand, and to the preferences of the tour group. Sometimes they'll say, would you rather do A or you'd rather do B? So
yeah,
some
I was just going to say that Michael, our driver, said that several times. He'd say, guys, we can go down this road and see this, or I've got an idea. Why don't we go this way and we could see that? And we put it up to a vote, and it worked out great. So it makes for a much more flexible and interesting type thing when you can do a small group. Now here's the group uh, in the Wicklow Mountains. It's a Wicklow National Park, and this is a place called Sally Gap, and it was absolutely stunning up there and beautiful stuff. There's Dale taking a picture of the landscape. So that's me taking a picture of Dale taking a picture.
That
Uh,
that almost is like it almost looks like a painting. It's so gorgeous.
yeah, I mean, the group loved it. The group loved it up there. There they are taking some more. That's Linda using her phone to take some pictures. Um, Now this is an image I would actually took from the front seat of the car as we were heading back uh, toward the destination that got rained out. Um, so Sally Gap was something that where we changed our itinerary to go there because of the rain. Um, so our next stop then was, oh, and that Wicklow, this road here was actually built back in it's winding, it's twisting. As you can see, it's pretty narrow. That's not just that little alleyway right there. The entire time you're on it, it's about that size. And again, unless you're really comfortable and confident with driving on the wrong side of the road, I absolutely loved having a professional driver taking us around.
And we do some self-drive tours for people in Ireland. It is an option, and we do that with some regularity. But when you could do the small group tour, folks, I'm going to tell you that there's a place for self-drive and doing things on your own and independent travel. But when you do it in a small group, you get the context, the history, you really understand what you're seeing. Where if you're going along on your own, you see things, but you don't always understand them. You don't get the backstories, and sometimes there's some really good backstories to what you're seeing along the way. And these driver guides that go out with these tours, they know they know all of it, and they make it so much more interesting and understandable as you go along the way.
Well, Pat, too, even the driver gets to enjoy the scenery if you're not driving, you know, uh, because if you were driving, you wouldn't have gotten to see some of the scenery because you had to keep your eyes on the road and keep paying attention to what you were doing. Plus, these professional drivers, they know where each little pull off point is, where you can just kind of pull off to the side of the road. It's not like in the US where there's a big sign that says observation point ahead,
Right.
uh, it's just a little gravel pull off. But so anyway, from there we went to Powers Court House and Gardens. Um, it's it's basically I mean, it's a mansion, a house. It was voted by Lonely Planet as one of the top 10 gardens worldwide. It's 47 acres of ponds. There's a Japanese garden. I mean, it's just, we walked around. It's just beautiful.
This is a stunning picture here.
Thank you. Um, from there, we went to Glendalough. Now, Glendalough is a monastic heritage site, and it was founded by Saint Kevin in
Really?
in the 6th century. That tower you see is called Saint Kevin's Tower. Um, but now the Vikings actually destroyed much of the original village, and but what you see at Glenda Lock is mostly what remains from the 10th and 12th century. So nothing really old there at all. But
Now, Kevin, just for our listeners, these are your personal photographs. These aren't images that we've taken stock photos anywhere. You took these pictures during this tour. These are your own personal photographs.
yeah, all these are pictures that I've taken myself, and
Cool.
except for the ones that I'm in, that I'm in, and then I think there's one that Linda took of the group, and one that Michael, the driver, took of the group. But we spent a lot of time walking around Glenda Lock. You can see that the the tower up close and in the distance. Here's Linda and Martin with the Kevin's Tower in the back. Um, very enjoyable day. The entire day was great with going to Glenda Lock, going up into the Wicklow Mountains, and going to Powers Court. And then that night, we went to the Merry Plowboys show, and it was like a dinner theater. You got served a meal while you were listening and being entertained by traditional Irish music and Irish dance.
So
Uh,
Linda got her fix there.
yeah, it was a great show, and for serving a lot of people, it was a great meal. Uh, we hopped in the car then for the drive. The next day, we went to Kilkenny, and we saw the Kilkenny Castle. Um, the Kilkenny Castle it was actually, again, the area was founded like back in the times of the Normans. The castle, of course, it's been rebuilt, it's been extended, over 800 years that it's been in existence. And the grounds itself take up about 50 acres. And again, well, here's a view of some of that's in the castle, looking out at the courtyard of part of those 50 acres. And this room here in this picture that I went over, that is actually what's called the picture gallery room. Pretty impressive room in itself.
Yeah, I can see. I'm impressed just looking at the picture of it.
Uh, from there, we went to the Rock of Cashel. Uh, it's probably one of the most impressive cluster of medieval buildings in Ireland, in my opinion. The original construction on this site was believed to have been begun in around the year 1100. But it's it's pretty much a ruin. You can walk through it. It's safe to walk through. It's all self-guided.
You know
Here's
what? We have a regular listener. Sherry is going to say, "Oh, I want to go inside." You know she is.
Cheryl.
Cheryl, I mean Cheryl.
Cheryl,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
yeah,
sure she will. Yeah.
yeah.
There's the guy who's taking a break. Uh, and then let's see, I believe, yeah, that ended our day. We had Kilkenny and Kilkenny Castle. Kilkenny itself, the town was fun to walk around. We had lunch there. The Rock of Cashel, and then the next day we went to a hotel where we stayed for 2 days in Killarney. And Killarney lies right on the edge of Killarney National Park. It's kind of like where the Ring of Kerry, and I'm sure people have heard of that. But we went on a horse and buggy ride. Um, that's that's Linda and Martin. I don't know who that is in the middle. I can't remember. I can't remember the horse's name. but we went on a little jaunty car, and there's a church that we that we saw from a distance as we went by. Here's just a landscape. Back in the distance there, you can see Ross Castle, and that's as close as we got to it. But just a nice, relaxing, beautiful ride on in the jaunting car. Uh, if any of you went to my personal Facebook page recently, yesterday, you saw this picture. That's from that area as well. And then we went to a waterfall, Torque Waterfall. Just a nice, again, we did a lot of, Ireland's known for its beautiful landscapes and scenery, and so that's what we did. It was really a nice place there to hang out for a little bit. We then went to Muckross House and Gardens. That's a mansion that was built back in the early 1800s, and but the land that it was built on has been part of the family for 200 years. And this is like the fourth house that has been on this property. I don't remember how many gardens or how many acres it's made of, but the gardens are supposed to be spectacular. Unfortunately, it was raining, so we spent most of our time touring the house and didn't really get out in the rain and go through the gardens. And the gardens were all expanded and built extensively in the 1850s because Queen Victoria was coming over to stay for a couple of days and they wanted to impress her with their gardens.
Wow.
So
Well, that is a beautiful, beautiful structure. I'm like Cheryl. I want to go and look inside.
you can go in that one. It's quite an impressive tour. It kind of made you think of Downton Abbey a little bit as you went through it with the massive kitchen that could serve huge groups of people and things like that.
Wow.
Now just going to flip through. There's just some pictures, scenery of pictures of the areas that we drove through, and again where Michael knew where to stop to let us get out, stretch our legs, and take a couple of pictures. Um, you just can't beat the landscape and the scenery that you see. Here's the group again.
I guess your driver must have taken that.
Yep, yep. And then we went, the next day, we went to the Cliffs of Moher. And I think that's probably a place everyone has heard of and seen this picture. I took this one, but I mean, it's a very common sight. That's the view that most people take. It's hard to tell, but the cliffs, they're 700 feet tall. And they range for like 5 miles around the coast there. So it's pretty impressive what you see there. There's actually looking in the opposite direction from those cliffs. But the group really liked this area too. It was beautiful. There's the guys again.
It's just breathtaking.
It And as you can see, we've all got the shades on because it was a nice, bright, sunny day.
Very good.
And then we were winding down the next day. We only had one stop left to make before we went back to Dublin, and we stopped at the Kilbeggan Distillery. It is the oldest whiskey distillery in the world. And we got to have a little master class in tasting Irish whiskey. We didn't let the driver join us, but But we got to try the three different types of whiskey, and since Linda wasn't drinking it, Martin got to enjoy Dublin.
Oh, wow.
So this was kind of our last group photo there at the Kilbeggan Distillery before we headed back to our hotel for the night, which was a cool hotel, the Davenport Hotel, right there in the center of everything in Dublin. And then we walked down to a restaurant for our farewell dinner at the Pig's Ear Restaurant. And with a name like that, you know it's got to be good.
That
And
is
it was,
so cool. You see that picture so many times in when you're seeing pictures of Ireland and Dublin. You see so many pictures of that particular restaurant.
yeah, it
It's an
was,
icon.
yeah. I mean, you walk in that, it's that door, and then you have to walk upstairs immediately as you go in and go up the stairs to get to it. And then I've got one last photograph, Pat,
Yeah.
and this is the train station as I had to head back home after with the guys all going back to the airport, and I did it in black and white because that kind of reflected my mood. Um, I had so much fun with my group, and I was sitting there alone on a Sunday at this train station waiting for my train to take me home, and it just kind of like, ah, this is a fitting end to an amazing tour that we had with five friends.
That
Oh,
is a great mood shot there, Kevin.
so there you go. Very quickly, there was 8 days.
Okay. Well, as you've been talking, I've had the itinerary printed out here for next year for 2021, and I clicked off every one of those experiences that you discussed. Every single one of them is included for the 2021 September 2021 tour. Has every single one of those experiences. Accommodations are first class, of course. Then we have the driver guide who you feel like you've got a new friend when you leave there after spending a week in their company. And the accommodations, Kevin, how are the accommodations?
Just I mean, we book top level type stuff, and actually, in my opinion, Pat, we've upgraded for 2021.
Yes,
Um,
we have.
some of the locations in 2019, although the facilities were incredible, some of them were too far away from the beaten path of where we could just get out and walk to some place or something like that. And so, because that was our uh, first adventure in Ireland, we weren't really sure. Now we know we've upgraded the hotels and we're in better location now where
Right,
people
we
get out.
actually did a little tweaking just based on Kevin's feedback from the experience of 2019. So we have top-notch, wonderful properties along the way. All of the experiences that he mentioned during this program. So, folks, I have an itinerary that I would be happy to send to you. You see the phone number for Dancing Moon Travel. That's my mobile number. That's coming across the bottom there on that banner. So you can reach out to me or you can email pat@dancingmoontravel.com. If you'd like to see an itinerary and get pricing and so forth for 2021, it is going to be a small group, 10 people max plus Kevin. So we do expect this to fill up quickly. You don't want to delay on getting your space reserved if you want to do Ireland. And if you do want to do Ireland, there's no better opportunity than this one. This is really a small group is the optimum way to go on this. So um,
Yeah.
anyway, thank you, Kevin.
Well, you're
Great
quite
job.
welcome, Pat.
And thank you for all you do with Dancing Moon Travel and especially what all you did in helping get this group put together for us. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're so glad that you're out there, and feel free to reach out to us at any time here at Dancing Moon Travel. We choreograph dreams.
Bye, everyone. We'll
Bye.
see you in Ireland in 2021. Bye-bye.